So we take a look. What we're going to talk about today is just naming points, lines, and planes. We're going to talk about what a point, a line, and a plane is in terms of geometry and how we can name them. Okay? Informally, geometry is the branch of mathematics that studies shapes and space. To break down the word geometry, what is geo? What do you think geo means? Can you break that down? What does geo generally involve? What? Earth. That's exactly what it means when you break down the word geo. It means Earth. What do you think metry means? What? Good. Metry means measure. So geometry, when you break down that word, means measurement on the Earth. Okay. I gotta orient my board. It is called a point. And by definition or description, it is a location with no sides. Right? Which is kind of an abstract thought, right? It has no sides. It's infinitely big. But can we have an infinitely big thing on our paper? No, right? We have to have this in terms of like two-dimensional real world, right? Right? We have to be able to represent a point on a piece of paper. So what that looks like on paper, it's just a dot with a letter. Okay? But really, it's a location with no sides. We just represent that location with a dot. Okay? To make it so we can see it and visually use it on paper. So, we name a point by its capital letter. So what it's going to look like when we're naming a point. We have our dot with our capital letter. That's indicating to me that that's a point. I literally just say, hey, that's point. Write the word point, and you put whatever capital letter represents that point. Next vocab word is a line. And by definition, a line is an infinite number of points along a straight path with no end. Again, can we draw that on a piece of paper? No, right? We can't have an infinite amount of pieces of paper to represent our line and an infinite amount of points. Right? So we have to somehow symbolize this on paper. And what that is, what a line looks like, is a line with arrows on the end. That's telling me that that's a line. The arrows mean it's going on forever. Okay? And generally there will be at least 2 points on that line, sometimes more. Okay? But generally there will be about 2 points on that line. Sometimes, and I will draw this in, there is some form of cursive letter, like a cursive L, or a lowercase italicized letter. Really big. That's what cursive L is. So sometimes there's 2 points, sometimes there's a lowercase italicized or cursive-y looking letter right next to it. Okay. How we name a line. We name it by using 2 points. So you pick 2 points on that line. Okay. And to symbolize it, how we would write it is you make a mini line, so with arrows, mini line, and then you just take the 2 points that are on that line and you write it underneath. So A and B are on this line. So I'll just put an arrow and write AB underneath. You can also name a line by its lowercase letter. Okay, so that's another way. And I have abbreviated lower level, lowercase. You can squeeze it in there a little better. I wrote my 2 points too big. But we can also name it by the lowercase letter. Okay. To name it by the lowercase letter, all you have to do is just say, write the word line, and then put the lowercase letter, line L. You could say line AB, or you could say line L. I don't know exactly what you're talking about. Line AB or line L is how you can name it. A line segment is just part of a line. So you're just taking a piece of a line. It has a start point and an end point. Okay? And then it has all the points that are in between. Okay? So I like to think a line segment is just a chunk of a line. Right? How you name a line segment is exactly how you name a line. You use 2 points. And it's very similar to symbolize a line segment. Okay? You just draw a mini segment, and then you put the endpoints of that segment. Okay, so the endpoints of this segment are x and y. We start at x, we end at y. We don't go past those. So I say segment x, y. So you have to know the difference. A line has arrows on the end of the symbol. A segment doesn't have arrows on the end. Okay? So you have to make sure you get the difference. A plane is a flat surface that extends in all directions with no end. Then a plane goes on forever. But we can't really have that on paper. So you have to represent that concept of a plane on paper. So what a plane is going to look like on paper is kind of a four-sided slanted figure, which is called a parallelogram. Okay? Looks something like this. And there's going to be points inside the plane. There's going to be lines inside the plane. There might be another plane intersecting it. Okay? But this is generally what a plane is going to look like, this tilted quadrilateral. Okay, that's a plane. We name a plane by using 3 points, and it's really important. These 3 points cannot be on the same line. Okay, so 3 points not on the same line. They have to be inside the plane. They just can't be on the same line. Okay? You can also name a plane. You notice there's this kind of fancy looking capital letter in that upper corner. Is there a dot next to that capital letter? No. So that capital letter is not a point. It has to have a dot next to it in order to be a point. Okay? That's just another way of representing that plane. So you can also use the capital letter to name a plane. So to name this plane, I'm going to say, write the word plane, and then I pick 3 points that are not on the same line. Well, there's E, G, and F. They're not on the same line. They're just kind of scattered in that plane. So I'm going to name this plane E, G, F. And what's great about naming segments and lines and planes, the order of the points do not matter. Okay? So you could have flip-flopped this, and you could have said line BA. You could have said segment YX. It's the same thing. Okay? When we get into angles next week, that's where order matters. But with planes and lines, orders does not matter. So you could have also named this plane, plane what? Use those same letters, but they don't have to go in the same order. You could have named it plane GFE. Totally okay. Order does not matter with that. To name it by the capital letter, you just say plane, and you put that fancy letter there, plain old T. Plain T. Either way, I will know what plane you are talking about. Using those 3 points not on the same line, or using that capital letter. questions over that? We'll get more practice with this here. More vocab words is collinear. Collinear means points on the same line. Kind of has the word line in it. Co kind of means same. Okay. Coplanar, kind of the same thing. It doesn't mean you complain a lot. It doesn't mean someone who complains all the time. Okay. Coplanar just means points on the same plane. Collinear, points on the same line. Coplanar, points on the same line. Questions over that? Okay, let's practice this. We're going to use this diagram to answer the following. Name the following plane in two different ways. Okay. So it's telling me to name a plane. So I'm going to write the word plane. Plane what? What's one way we can name this? Who has an idea how we can name this plane? Plane S. Very good. Josh, use that fancy capital letter. Plane S. Again, there's no dot next to that fancy capital letter, so it is not a point. It's just there to represent the plane. What's another way we could name this plane? We can use what? How many points? 3. And what's really important about those 3? Can't be on the same line. That'd be what we call non-collinear. And then the point's not on the same line. Non-collinear. So what are 3 points that are not on the same line? You can say plane what? What'd you say? Here's the thing. You said N? Okay, I thought you said something else. N, Q, what? Is M in that shaded region? Is M on that plane? Okay. It has to be inside that shaded region. It has to be inside that plane. M is floating up above it. It's not in the shaded region, so M is not in that plane. So we can use N. We can use Q. What else can we use? T. Okay. It's okay for 2 of them to be on the same line. T and Q can be on the same line. T and N can be on the same line. They all 3 can't be on the same line. Okay? So we can say N, Q, T. What's another way just for more practice? How else could we have named it? R, T what? R, T, P. You could have said R, T, N. You just can't say P, T, N or R, T, Q because they're all on the same line. Could we have said PRS? No, why not? Yeah, S is not a point. We can't use it when we name it the 3-point method. Okay? Questions over that? B says name a line that contains point R 2 different ways. Well, here's point R. And here's the line it's sitting on. It helps you can highlight it. How many points do we use to name a line? 2, right? So give me 2 points that are sitting on that line. T and Q. So you can say line T, Q. Make your line symbol, put your points underneath. You notice R is not in the answer. That's okay. Because you said it's a line, so it's going on forever. That line that goes on forever, R is sitting on. So it's okay to not necessarily have the letter underneath the line. What's another way we can name this line? What's another way? Yeah? Yeah, you could say line R, Q. Again, there's 2 points sitting on that highlighted line. What's a different method for naming this line? What else could you say? What else could we use? We don't have to use 2 points. We can use what? Yeah, that means a little letter, a lowercase letter that's sitting right next to that line. See this H right here? We can name it using that H. line H. Let's say you're taking your quiz or you're taking your test and you're like, shoot, I know I need 2 points. I know I need to use R and Q to name this line, but I don't remember this symbol. If that happens to you, I will give you full credit if you go line RQ. So if you don't remember the symbol, write the word. Right? And then put your 2 letters. Totally fine. You will get 100% if you give me any one of them. Name a segment that contains point T. Well, here's point T, and here's the segment. How many points do you use to name a segment? 2. Okay? So give me one segment that has point T in it. What is it? P and N. Yep. Again, you notice P and N. T is not in there, but is T in between P and N? Yeah, so it contains it. It's on that segment. It's in between those 2 endpoints, so it's contained in that segment. That's totally acceptable. And if you notice, what's different about my symbol for naming a segment? No arrows. Okay, segments have no arrows. Lines, you have to put the arrows. Okay, don't do this, because now you're naming this whole line. We just want the segment from P to N. Okay, that's why it's important to make sure you get that symbol down. I'll be able to recognize this. What's another segment that has point T? Empty, yeah. From N to T. No, empty. Oh, yep, it didn't say the plane. Very good. So from M to T. If it says that's in the plane, can't use it because M's not in that plane. But it didn't say anything about being in the plane, so that's totally fine. MT. You could have said NT. You could have said PT. You could have said QR. What else could you have said? QT, RT. They're all okay. Lots and lots of answers. Oh, I got geometry. Sometimes there's like 10 answers that are all correct. Okay. So you feel like it's right, you're probably right. D says, are points P, T, and N collinear? What does collinear mean again? On the same line. So are points P, T, and N on the same line? Yeah. We're all sitting on the same exact line. Are P, N, and M coplanar? No. Which one's not in that plane? We talked about it. Here's P. Here is N. Those are in the shaded region. But is M in that shaded region? No. And coplanar means same plane, and they're not on the same plane. Questions? The next example, use this diagram below to answer the following. Name a plane that contains point H 2 different ways. Well, here is point H. And it's inside that slanted figure. So that is the plane that H is inside. The non-shaded plane. What's one way to name that plane? Yep. Okay. Again, does K have a dot next to it? No. So it's not a point. It's just there to represent that plane. So plane okay. What's another way to name that plane? How many points can we use to name a plane? 3. But what's important about those 3? Can't be on the same line. So give me 3 points that are not on the same line, that are inside that non-shaded region. Or on the edge. Being on the edge is okay too. So this is touching it, that's touching it. G's inside, it's touching it. What is it? B, G, what? M? three of those are all inside or touching that plane, and they're not on the same line. B's just like A. So we're going to skip B. Then we take a look at C. At what point do lines MN and AB intersect? So here is MN, and here is AB. Where's their intersection point? Where do they meet? Right here in the middle, right? Which is point G. And we name a point, we just write the word point. With the letter. We're not going to worry about D. It won't be asked on the test. Don't worry about those two. We'll go ahead and do E and F. Okay. Our points C, G, and D coplanar. So here is C, here is G, and here is D. Are they all inside the same plane? Are they all inside that shaded plane? Yeah, so are they coplanar? And they're all inside the same plane. Our points E, here's point E, here's point B, E, B, and A. Are they coplanar? Oh, why are they not coplanar? E's floating up in no man's land. It's not inside the shaded plane. Floating up above it. So no. A and B are coplanar, but E is not. But all three of them are not. Questions over that? Okay, try that on your own while I'm passing out your practice. It's just a half slip. There are questions on the front, question on the back. Tomorrow, on Monday, we will talk about angles. We will review a little bit at the beginning of class on Tuesday, and you'll have another quiz on Wednesday. And again, if you're checking your answer with my key, and you're like, I didn't get the same answers as you. Well, there's a lot of times there's like a lot of right answers. So if you're unsure if your answer is right, and it doesn't match what I have on the key when you're using a line or a plane or a segment, generally I just write down a couple options. I don't write down all the options, so I can always check and do it for you. Any questions, let me know. You can write some answers on the board. Oh, wonder where this problem went. Oh, did I pause it?